Not too long ago, we had a couple on the show, and if you saw the show, you couldn't forget Kate and Ed. We got hundreds of calls from around the country demanding to know if we helped this woman, and we will talk about that a little bit later on. But first, we want you to see what Kate told us about some of the abuse that's gone on for the 19 years they've been together.
He has no conscience. He has no remorse. He hurts me severely, and I've begged for mercy from him, and he shows none. I was asleep, and I could feel him. He kept trying to mess with me whenever I was asleep. And so finally I woke up and I said, what is your problem? What do you need? And then he started getting really physical with me, and he told me I was going to do it, have sex anally. And I told him no. And I said, just a minute, let me do something. And whenever he let me go for that split second, I was out the door. Please don't do it like this. Please don't. You'll kill me. Please don't. And I'm begging him. And I say, okay, I'll let you do it if you get me a knife. That way, if you hurt me, I can, you'll have to stop because I'll have the knife. And so he goes and he gets a big knife, one of the biggest, and he brings it back to me, and he stands on the porch, and I'm still in the yard. And he says, here's the knife, like, come and get it. And I say, throw it out here, and then I'll get it and I'll come in. And so he did, and I came in with the knife. And then he had me kneel down before the bed, and he had me pinned where I could not get up. And whenever he just thrust it in me, and it was just so, it hurt so bad, you couldn't even scream.
If you're thinking, why doesn't she just divorce him and leave? She did just that 14 years ago. And she bought her own house, but she can't get him to leave. Here's what Ed had to say to Kate's charges against him.
She wanted it. She just said, went on that way.
Then why do you think she ran out of the house in a t-shirt and underwear?
She runs out all the time getting away from me. To get away from me because I'm abusive.
You're telling us on the air that you will leave?
Yeah. I promise everybody I'll leave. I'm gone.
Well, they're back, and obviously Ed did not leave. I have to tell you that since you were on the show before when we taped the show, I have probably thought about you every day. And we talk about you at the office all the time, more than we talk about guests, but much more so with you. And first thing I want you to tell us is you made the trip back together. We did offer to help you stay and help you to relocate, but you didn't take the offer. You chose to go ahead back, and you actually went back home together on the plane ride. Tell us what the trip was like for you going back home.
It was terrible. He was very quiet. He'd take a window seat on the plane whenever he could, and he'd just stare out the window. He wouldn't say anything. And so I didn't know what was going through his head.
He wasn't even talking to you?
No.
And then you got back home, and tell us about the ride back in the car to home, because your daughters were with you too.
Yes, and they were very anxious to get home, and we were all tired. And the limousine wasn't going fast enough for him. And so he was going a little bit slow, but we were anxious to get home and everything. But
when you say get home, you've been divorced for 14 years. This has been going on. You were married for 5 years before that. So you've been together for a total of 19 years, and in spite of the divorce, you're still involved.
He won't
leave. You got your own place and you moved away, and he comes over
and stays.
And stays.
This isn't the first time I've moved out and got my own place. He seems to weed himself back in each time.
We were worried about whether the fact that you came on the show would make things worse for you. What was it like your first night home?
It was worse. He started to play. Well, when we got home, I went right to sleep on the couch. I fell to sleep. I was so tired. The mental stress had just really wiped me out, and so I'd lay down on the couch, and the girls were, they called their friends and told them they were home, and they snacked and they went to bed. But I woke up. When I woke up, I was in my bed, and there he was doing it again. And I'm going, didn't that teach him anything?
What was he doing?
Trying to sodomize me in my sleep. And then when I woke up, and I said, didn't you learn anything or whatever? Well, then he moved away, and he left me alone.
The last time you were on, you were explaining to us how somehow that's something that he only wants to do when you're sleeping.
I'm asleep.
And if you're awake, he doesn't want to do
because
it.
I push him away.
you did spend that night together. Did he rape you that night? When did he rape you again?
I guess it would have been like, it was like he didn't even touch me for a while after that. And
did you think that meant he was going to stop?
I thought he was going to, I thought he was going to stay away, because I have known some people that have stayed in the same house and not had sexual relationships. You know, like if you get mad at your husband, well, and you know, it's not the time to have relationships when you're in an argument, and so things kind of died down and went right back to the old 7 and 6 that we'd been doing.
What do you mean 7 and 6?
The same thing, the same, the way that he pushes me down when he wants sex. He just takes it from me. He comes in and he takes me, and he has it when he wants it. And if I push him away, well then, and now since I told it on the show, well then he's been like trying to touch me more, because when he touches me, I jerk. I can't help it. It's like a natural response.
But you're not officially living together, right? I mean, you've changed locks on your doors, and he still gets in.
But like I said the last time on the show, he'll take those doors down. Those doors don't mean anything.
And we also talked last time about calling the police, because you would think that'd be the first thing you'd do if you don't want someone in. What happens?
Well, he threatened me. You know, he said that I called him once and I would not do it again, and that's what he meant. Yeah.
So, do you think that he's doing anything more now than he was before? Is he touching you more?
He's touching me. It seems to see my reaction, to watch me run from him.
How's he different?
He's quiet, more quiet. He.
Does that scare you more?
Oh yeah. Because when he's quiet, that's when you don't know what he's thinking. That's what you don't know. You don't know anything. You have no input. And so, you know, because
I would have thought maybe he would be angry because of all the things that you talked about nationally.
Well, actually, whenever I talked about it, it was, you know, what I said was the truth, and he really didn't say I was lying. He didn't, you know, it was the truth. And so
do you feel like there's more, almost like a kind of a vengeance or something?
Yeah,
because
there is a vengeance. I do feel that he has a vengeance against me, because I was the one that initiated this.
And he has forced sex on you since you've been here before? How many times?
4.
4 times. Your daughters were here on the show, and I remember talking to them, and we're going to play a little clip in just a second, but they said they were afraid of their dad. Now, what's going on with them now that you're back home? Because did they think he was going to leave? Because he said he would on the show.
Well, I don't know really if they thought that he would leave or not, but I know that they were praying that he would. And
let's play a little clip of when your girls were here in the audience, and then we'll talk about them. What are the daughters' names?
Pam and Beth.
Pam and Beth. Are you afraid of your father? Are you too?
Yes.
Besides being afraid of him, how do you feel about him?
Well, I love him still, but I'm definitely afraid of him. I mean, every time at night now, when I hear a knock or something gets knocked over or anything, I jump out of bed and I run and to see if something happened to my mother, because I love her and I don't want anything to happen to her.
You want him to leave, get out of her life? Is that what you want too?
Yeah.
Have you told your dad that?
No, well, I don't know. I don't think so.
You never have either? You want to tell him now? You can tell him he's right there. You can look him in the eyes and say so.
I can't.
Sorry. I was thought maybe if they asked him, he might do it. You know, if your daughters don't want you with your mom, would you do it for them?
Do anything I can for them.
Would you leave her life for good for them if that's what they want? Do you think he will do it now, Kate? No? Did you really think that he was going to leave when you left the show?
No.
What's going on with your daughters?
Well, now they're just they've seen the first show, and they know how, and they know that he's still there, and they don't like that, and they're glad that I've come back, and they're really glad that you're strong enough that you can help me, and that you're behind me, and I'm glad too.
Did you watch the show a lot of times?
I did.
How many times did you watch it?
Probably about 10.
Did you? You remember that Ed was not real talkative.
Right.
But we are going to, in the next segment, talk to Ed and ask why it is that he didn't leave. But I wanted to first, you wrote a letter when you went back home, and I was wondering if you could read a little part of it for us. This was a way of expressing how you were feeling. And just read that, maybe the last paragraph or so of the letter.
It was so late, and everyone was so tired. The girls called friends and snacked, then got ready for bed. I laid up on the couch and fell asleep in 2 seconds. Then the next thing I know is I'm in my bed, and Ed is doing his thing in the dark again. I feel so stupid now. I don't know what I said, but he acted embarrassed and moved far away. I fell asleep very fast again, and I wonder now, am I stupid or crazy? He could have killed me last night, and I know it. I thought he would have went to his brother's house or something. He promised on national TV he would leave, and he didn't go. What am I to do? I feel so sick to my stomach. I think he will kill me.
Much married sex is normal? Is too little a sign of trouble? Is too much? Is being thin an unnatural state for you? Don't go on another diet until you discover this shocking secret. For women only. The dead giveaway that a man will be unfaithful to you. The new childbearing deadline, when it's not too late to have kids. For women only. The most effective way to talk to teens about sex before it's too late. Unnecessary wrinkles women cause themselves. Women's questions. Women's lives. The Women's Encyclopedia of Health and Emotional Healing. Yours free for 3 full weeks. Written by women doctors for women. It's about your body, your feelings, your life, your health. The expert answers to secret questions we all have. For women only. Women who enjoy complete sexual fulfillment. What's their secret? Unnecessary medical procedures. How to guard against them. How to get your husband to share in more of the housework. Secret ways to fade stretch marks. Over 100 women gynecologists, obstetricians, psychiatrists, researchers, and others bring you over 2,000 health facts doctors often keep secret on everything from aging to weight control, sex to widowhood. Yours to examine free for 3 full weeks. Call now and you'll also get this busy woman's survival guide, packed with innovative, effective ways to make more time for yourself, free. For women only. The biggest cause of inhibited sexual desire. Fatigue symptoms that should never be ignored. Pregnancy. Call now for the Women's Encyclopedia of Health and Emotional Healing, free for 3 full weeks. If you choose to keep it, we'll bill you in 4 easy installments of just $6.99 each. And the Busy Woman Survival Guide is yours to keep, free.
Call 1-800-544-1155.
I think in his mind, it's love. I mean, how do you feel about this woman?
I love her. I've loved her.
And I do feel that he does love me, but how can you love someone and do this?
But you also...
I know it. Help me.
But you know, Ed, too, that you have forced sex on her, and will you not admit that you have raped her?
Yeah, I've raped her.
We're back talking to Kate and Ed, who were on the show some time ago. And the last time you were on it, I did appreciate that you were straightforward and you answered all the questions. But you know, the first thing I have to ask you is, you said you were going to leave and you didn't leave. You promised us.
I can't leave.
Why can't
We've got one car and the kids got to get to school and I've got to get to work. I'm supposed to leave her a foot. I can't leave her a foot. Get a foot.
I have a feeling that if you had 2 cars, that you would still be there. If you really honestly believe that if you had another car, that you would not be there?
Didn't I say I was leaving?
The audience. Somebody just offered to buy. Let me go to the audience for a minute. Somebody just offered to buy you a car. Huh? Who just offered to buy? Yes.
I just want to know, have you ever even abused your daughters also? And first of all, I've never met a person that disgusts me more than you do. How can you stand looking at yourself in the mirror every day? I mean, seriously, how can you stand looking at yourself in the mirror?
Your wife says that after you came home from your trip here to Chicago, that you did force sex on her again. Do you remember that?
Same night. Yeah.
The same night?
Yep.
The same night as what? The first night you were back?
I think it was the first night I was back.
The first night? Did you think that she wanted it? Or did you know that she didn't?
I don't know if she wants it or not. She says she didn't, so I don't guess she does.
She said she didn't want it. But then why did I don't understand why you did it. Why did you do it?
I got to be close to her some way.
Get a life.
Yeah.
I wish I had one.
Don't you have any respect for any woman out there? You know, besides just thinking from the other parts of your body. You know, she's a living being where she should have a lot of respect. And I'll tell you this much, the way looking at you right now, you got no respect, not even for yourself.
Does it bother you to hear stuff like that? You know, there's probably 50 hands up here that want to say the same thing to you. Doesn't bother you?
No, they got their own opinion.
You got no feelings at all.
Do you think, what? You can finish. Yeah, you can finish what you're saying.
You've got no feelings at all, I'll tell you that much right now. If you had any feelings, you would leave that young lady right there alone.
What do you want to say?
Can't you see she's crying for help? I mean, if you loved her, you would leave her alone. I mean, she wants to get away from you, and you just keep going after her. And
Let me remind you that they are divorced. They've been divorced for 14 years.
Even so, you're still haunting her.
Yeah, I mean, I know. But we still can't seem to understand why. Is it that you can't stop? Can you just not stop?
I don't know if I can stop or not.
I don't think you can.
Have you tried to stop? Have you tried to stop?
Stop sex?
Have you tried to stop forcing sex on your wife?
No.
Would you consider it?
Guess I'll move. That's the only way I can consider it.
Do you? Well, let me ask you this. Do you know that it's wrong to do that?
Yeah, that's wrong.
I think you're breaking the law. Huh?
I guess I've broke it many a time then. Because every girl I ever went out with, I took her clothes off.
Do you? I'm coming over. Yes, ma'am.
I've heard a lot that people who abuse their wives, or wives that stay with them, have been abused when they were children. Maybe they've been abused so bad that you don't know any better. I just wonder maybe if your father or mother abused you, molested you, beat you, or maybe with you, if you were beat when you were a child, could you?
Well, you know what? I remember asking right at the end of the show that you were on before, because you want to sodomize your wife, that you told us that it happened to you.
One time.
And how old were you?
I was a teenager.
You were a teenager, about 14 or so?
I don't remember how I was in jail.
Do you remember, do you know who did it to you?
I don't remember. Some guy that was in jail.
In jail. I didn't hear that.
Some guy that was in jail with me.
He was in jail with you. Do you remember what you felt like when it happened?
No, I don't remember it.
Does he ever tell you about it?
No,
okay.
I never have told you.
Does he talk about it?
He's mentioned it to me.
Do you get the feeling that maybe it was a pleasurable experience for him?
Yes, I do. Because it was consensual to both of them. I mean, they both consented to do it.
Oh, so it wasn't forced on you? It was something that you...
I would consent to have it.
Was it a bad experience, or was there anything...
I'll erase it from my mind. All I remember is it happened. I don't remember anything about it.
I'll come over with a mic. I think almost everybody in the audience wants to talk. But you know that when you force... The reason I was asking, I thought if maybe there was something pleasurable for you that maybe you thought she was enjoying when you raped her.
No, I thought she might.
Let me play back a little clip from the show that will remind you and our viewers what this experience is like for your wife. Here's Kate.
I come in the house and started kissing on her and holding her, and then we went to the bedroom. She took her clothes off, and I took mine off, and we got in the bed.
You want my version?
You tell us what happened. Give us your version of it.
I was getting dressed, and I was in the bedroom. I pulled out my drawers. I was finding some clothes to put on, and I had my nightgown on still. And so he comes in there, and we're going to do it. That's, he doesn't say nothing, but it's like he's shutting me down. I'm going, when he tries to kiss me, I turn my head from this side to this side. I don't want anything to do with him. And then he forces me, and it's like I'll be laying there and I will be crying, and you know it, Ed. I'll be laying there crying, and you could care less. And it's like, while I'm crying, you're trying to turn my face around so you can kiss my lips. And I feel like I just want to die when that happens.
Do you remember her crying when you have sex?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It don't mean anything, I don't get it.
Is that still how you feel? Do you have any other feelings now about when you are having sex with your wife against her will and she cries? What are you feeling?
I don't have any feelings.
No feelings? Yeah.
There are a couple of things that I would like to ask. First of all, have you looked into a restraining order? As of this past year, stalking is illegal. And it almost sounds as if you are stalking her. Now, on your side, have you looked for professional help, guidance? Because
he doesn't think there's a problem.
Okay,
right?
Well, I'm looking at a person. When I first heard the story, I was just like everybody else in this room. I got really mad, and I wanted to say I hated you, and I wanted to say all these bad things about you. But I don't know that I can because I feel sorry for you.
You do feel sorry, and if it's frustrating because if you thought there was a problem, maybe you would seek some kind of help. But you don't think there's a problem, Ed?
No, I don't think I got a problem.
I think there's something. I think that there's something chemically, maybe it's chemical, wrong in your head. Because something is not right here, and you're not seeing it.
Do you ever talk to...
You think all these people are wrong?
No, the reaction, you're not surprised at our reaction. What do you want to say, Kate?
He's very right. I felt that too, that there's something chemically wrong, maybe. Because he doesn't feel that he's hurting me. He's hurting someone else, and he doesn't feel any remorse at all.
I know. It's very hard to understand. When we come back, I want you to explain what you call Ed's night games are. This was the hardest thing for me to understand when you were on last time. Maybe we can try to get a better perspective on it. Yeah, we'll try to explain what these night games are. I'll be back in a moment.
My daughter Andrea is getting married next month, and we would really like you to join us as she and her fiancé Peter reveal the secrets of their wedding. From the invitations, we're going to have the cake, the wedding rings, the flowers, and Robin Leach is going to take us on fantasy honeymoon locations. We'll even take a peek at wedding night lingerie, and of course the bridal gowns, plus special celebrity surprises. So come, help us celebrate. Next Sally.
Sally Jesse Raphael, Friday at 2 on Channel 5.
Introducing the new Subaru Impreza front-wheel drive. Over 20 years ago, Subaru was the first car company in America to introduce a full line of front-wheel drive vehicles. When it comes to putting the weight of the engine over the driving wheels, Subaru has the weight of experience. The new Subaru Impreza. It's not just another new car.
Lease a new Subaru Impreza for only $159 per month.
What do you hate about buying new furniture?
I hate waiting too long. I hate paying too much.
If you hate buying new furniture, you'll love Elfish Groups to Go.
I hate it when it doesn't match.
With Groups to Go, we do the work for you. We match it, we stock it. And because you buy the group, you save even more. Like this sofa and love seat with tables and lamps for just $7.99. Picking the right thing isn't hard. Just go to Elfish and ask for Groups to Go. You'll like what you see. You'll love what you save.
There's a certain itch that's so private, most people will only discuss it with their doctor. Fortunately, you can get Anusol HC1 ointment over the counter. with the same prescription strength doctors have prescribed most.
If you're looking for itch and pain relief from bug bites and allergic rash, look for Advanced Formula Benadryl Cream, now with soothing aloe. Benadryl stops both itch and pain, even the strongest hydrocortisones can't. Benadryl Cream and Spray.
The race is on at Fairfield Ford in Midlothian. It's the Fairfield Ford 500 with full throttle savings on 500 new and used cars and trucks. We're lapping the competition with Chicagoland's leading deals on Taurus, on the top-selling Escort, and F-150, America's #1 selling trucks. Get into the race for your favorite Ford because Fairfield Ford has your winning deal. And now is the time to join the winners. It's the Fairfield Ford 500, and we're racing to sell 500 cars and trucks. So step on it. When the checkered flag drops, the race is over.
Teen sex at home.
If I told them they couldn't do it, don't you think they'd go out and do it just that much more?
Tomorrow on Jenny Jones.
You only want sex when she doesn't want it.
No, I want it whenever.
Then you can explain it, maybe, Kate.
Okay, he comes to me more when I'm asleep. If I wake up, then he'll stop. He doesn't want anything to do with me when I'm awake. If he does come to me whenever I'm awake, then I usually do push him away. And he says the reason that he does it whenever I'm asleep is because I won't have nothing to do with him whenever I'm awake. I get up and I say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, you're being perverted again," you know, and I try to keep the lid down on it because if he, gets up and becomes violent, well, then that's it. Yep. He's going to take me.
Well, that's, we were talking about, I guess, these night games.
Right.
And I had a really hard time understanding that he wants you when you're asleep. You must sleep really heavy.
I really don't. I can't get to sleep unless I have a sleeping pill.
Take the medication to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
It helps me to sleep because if I don't, I'll be awake all night long.
I'm assuming are you seeing a doctor for that for that medication? And what would happen if you didn't take it? You just wouldn't get to sleep?
For days because my anxiety is so severe. I have chronic anxiety.
Well, I guess you do.
Right.
I guess you do.
And I do believe
Are there times that you're so sound asleep that when you wake up, things have happened that you weren't even aware of?
Definitely. I've went to bed with, sweatpants and that tie, and I've tied him in a knot. And I'll wake up and he has untied the knot. That I've so carefully, every little tie, every little knot, and I'd tighten it down so tight. And he'd have it down and they'd be down. And I'd, barely catch it,
Jenny.
Yeah.
I have two things to say. One thing is, I know this is wrong what he's doing, but you've got to get yourself out of this situation. You've been offered help. You can do it. I know it's hard to uproot your family, but you've got to do it. I mean, you've been in this situation for such a long time. You've got to do it. Nobody else can do it. You can't rely on him anymore. You've got to rely on yourself.
When I leave, then he comes and finds me. I don't. I went 1,400 miles away.
Yeah.
I did do that when I got my divorce.
Kate,
and he was calling every day.
If you really love your daughters, also your little daughters, I feel real sorry for them because you hear people, their parents were abused or they were abusing their children and they abused their children and their children and
this cycle of abuse.
Yes,
right. You're not just sexually abused, you're also physically abused. He has broken your ribs.
Right.
He has punched you in the face, in the head. In fact, we have, I think, another clip from the show about some of the physical things that have happened to you. Here's a little bit more from the last show that they were on.
I think you're wrong. And he sits down like right here, and he takes his elbow and he goes backward, and with his elbow he broke 3 of my ribs. My ribs just felt like it just totally went to the backbone, and then I had no breath left, and I knew I'd better get out of his way. Then he came around the car and he said, "Get in the car, beep, beep, and someone's going to call the police." I'm praying to God they do. Get the license plate number or something, because I know that he's fixing to take me out there and beat me. I was laying there sound asleep, and then all of a sudden, it felt like something just came in on top of my face, and I jumped up, and by the time I jumped up, blood was just like in my hands, and I was going, "Oh my God, what's happened?" And then I seen him turn over, and he had hit me. He said he did it in his sleep.
Yeah.
You know what, Ed? You should be man enough to leave. You know, you got a big problem. But I think deep down she likes it. For 14 years, she's been putting up with it too. Come on. Come on, if you don't like something, you don't stick around in a situation that's not healthy.
I beg your pardon? No,
You don't stick around in a situation that's not healthy.
Stand up.
Come
on.
Okay.
Come on.
Yes, I see that she is a victim, but yes, you do need to get psychological help because you need to get control over your own
That's what
life.
I've been doing, and I'm taking medicine for it, and they do subdue me, subdue the anxiety.
But is that what you want to be subdued? Maybe
I don't want to be subdued. No way.
Then stop. It's easy to say. It's easy to say leave. You're not in her shoes. I know it's difficult.
I have my own house.
Because you feel like no matter where you go, he's going to find you.
Me. He will find me. Period. Yes, he will.
But you haven't.
I was at my mother's house one time. 5:30 in the morning. He comes out.
You're going to the obvious. Go somewhere where he doesn't.
He followed you to your mother's?
Mm-hmm. And he comes and gets in bed with me. He takes his clothes off and gets in bed with me naked, and I don't know who this is. You know, I was beaten. That's the reason I went there. Both of my legs was bandaged up, and no thank you. No thank you.
Get a gun.
No thank you.
Get a gun. Well, that's not. Of course, you know that's not the answer. That's not the answer.
I'm not.
Yes, sir.
I am not an abusive person.
Yes, I have a question for Kate. On the last show, you were offered transportation back to where you lived on your own.
Well, we offered to help. We offered to help her stay here or to help her relocate, and you chose not to take the help. And you have to. They have to be wondering why you would not.
So why did you travel back with this man who's obviously sick, and allow yourself to get back into that same situation?
Right, that's a fair question. That's a fair question.
My children were with me, and they had school the next day. And
that's not the answer, though.
No.
You know what's going to happen.
Oh, wait.
You know what's going to happen when you stay with this gentleman a certain amount of time that he's going to. I mean, why do you talk to him about his problems? Why do you give him the time of day? Why do you allow yourself to talk to him, to go to bed with him? You know, if you go to bed with this man, what's going to happen? Why do you do it? Why do you do it?
I wish I knew. I wish I could give you an answer.
Well, you might have a bigger problem than this guy, you know. So I don't know why you do it.
Yes, and I know there's a big problem, and don't think that I'm not afraid because I am. I'm terrified.
This man's being pounded on here all the time.
But she's. All right, let me play. Can we play the next clip? We have another clip.
Remember?
Is it ready or not? Yes. About the police. All right, let's play this from the last show, and this will give you some insight as to why she's still here.
No, I told her you've called the police on me once.
And he says, and you won't ever do it again.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
I'm not going to jail.
Well, isn't that a threat? Isn't it a threat? Just that it happens to be the way you said it, but it's a threat, right?
Yeah, I guess you could take it as a threat.
And I do.
We'll be right back.